Friends, welcome back to our podcast. In this episode, we'll explore Ireland's love and loss of the potato. We'll call it the Keeper of Silence. I am your host, Ethan Clark. So let's get started. Imagine a love story written not in letters or sonnets, but in the soil of a nation, a deep and enduring bond between a people and a humble tuber, the potato. To honestly know Ireland is to understand this profound and complicated relationship. This connection would become the bedrock of survival and, paradoxically, the source of its most devastating sorrow. The narrative begins not with a grand introduction, but with a quiet, almost accidental arrival. The potato, a rugged traveler from the distant Americas, first washed up on Irish shores in the late 16th century, a stowaway from a new world. Initially, it was met with suspicion, this strange and earthy foreigner, but it soon revealed itself to be nothing short of an agricultural miracle. This crop thrived in Ireland's damp and temperate embrace, flourishing in the poor, rocky soil where other, more delicate plants turned away. For a family living on a mere sliver of rented land, a single acre of planted potatoes could feed them for an entire year. It was the unwavering staple, the quiet engine of a population boom, the sun around which all of daily life orbited. This was not a simple matter of preference or taste, but a deep, inextricable, and total dependence forged from economic necessity and colonial circumstance. The Irish didn't just love the potato, they built their entire world upon its fragile, underground foundation. And that intimacy, that total reliance, made the coming silence all the more terrifying and complete. The first ominous signs emerged in the autumn of 1845. A quiet, creeping rot whispering through the fields, a blight leaving a blackened, putrid slime where life-sustaining food had grown just weeks before. A fungal disease known as Phytophthora infestans had arrived, a silent, microscopic invader that traveled on the wind and in the rain, turning the life-giving potato into a foul-smelling mush. The first year's loss was a severe warning, a tremor before the earthquake, but 1846 was the absolute rupture, the year the blight returned with an apocalyptic fury that left nothing but vast fields of decay in its wake. For people who had entrusted their entire existence and their children's futures to this single crop, failure was absolute, and the consequence was hunger. This was the beginning of Ngortamore, the Great Hunger. Starvation, that cruel and patient spectre, settled over the land. The true horror lay in a grotesque and heartbreaking irony. Families who had worked the earth their entire lives were now surrounded by abundance they could not touch, exported cattle, grain, and livestock destined for tables abroad, all moving under armed guard past their hollow-eyed children. The famine was a natural disaster amplified into a human catastrophe by the cold, rigid calculus of political ideology and profound neglect, a catastrophic failure of humanity that would see 1 million lives lost to hunger and disease and force another 2 million to flee their homeland in a desperate exodus, scattering the Irish diaspora like seeds to the wind, forever altering the fabric of nations across the globe. And yet, in the long, aching shadow of such unspeakable trauma, a most remarkable and poignant thing happened. The love for the potato endured. You might logically expect it to be reviled, cast aside as a bitter symbol of betrayal and devastation, but the Irish heart understood a more profound, more nuanced truth. The potato itself had not been the villain, but a faithful provider for centuries, the only thing that stood between them and oblivion for generations. To reject it would have been to deny the resilience and ingenuity of those who came before, to forget the hard-won knowledge that had carved a life from the very soil. So the potato remained, patiently woven into the very soul of the culture, its presence an act of quiet defiance. The familiar, meditative rhythm of spud peeling and the shared, profound comfort of a steaming bowl of champ or colcannon were more than mere traditions. They were acts of memory, a tactile connection to the past, and a declaration that they would not be erased. Today, the potato is honored on every Irish table, a golden, crispy presence at every Sunday roast, the fluffy heart of every stew. It is a versatile and beloved comfort, yes. Still, it is also a living memorial, a humble keeper of a story that holds both the most profound sorrow and the most unbreakable strength. A simple tree that carries upon its skin the weight of a nation's history, reminding us that from the deepest darkness, life and love can stubbornly, miraculously take root once again. This is all for this episode. Please join us for the next round of another exciting and educational segment. Until then, keep your eyes on the fire. Thanks for listening.